Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be sharing all of my thoughts on the latest Mothership from Pat McGrath as well as 4 looks using this new palette. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here we have Pat McGrath's latest Mothership. This is Mothership 11 Sunlit Seduction, and as I'm sure you guys are aware, this was a very controversial little launch from Pat McGrath because we are again seeing a lot of pink and gold shadows. Lots of people were very disappointed with this colour story being quite similar to several of the previous Motherships and some of the quads that have been released in the last sort of 1 to 2 years. Now, a little side note to this launch, as if you are following me and you follow me on Instagram, you will already know, I was able to get this palette at almost half price. Okay, I paid I think £69 for this, retail value 120. Massive saving. I think it's something like 45%. A lot. Okay, it's a lot. Essentially, this palette, whether it was intentional or accidental, it went live on the website like a good week or more before it was supposed to, and one of my followers on Instagram, thank you so much, let me know, gave me the heads up that this was live on the website, and she also had a discount code that for some reason was working on this palette. The code was thanks30. I don't think it's working any longer. They caught it after we robbed them blind. So I was not only able to place my order, but also to use that discount code for 30% off. And with that, I also got a little free gift, which is a mini blush and an eyeliner. So I was very happy. It did take a very long time for this to dispatch. I did think they might cancel our orders, given that we got the palette early and also with such a massive discount. And the discount, whether or not the leak was intentional, the discount definitely was not intentional. I don't think for such a massive discount to be working on a brand new release I don't think was done intentionally. So I was a little, the orders might get cancelled, but it was worth a try for such a massive saving. And I can see from the number of clicks and purchases on my link, very many of you guys were able to grab this with that massive discount, and we all got our orders. I think I've heard 1 or 2 people who had an issue with their order. That is literally the only ones that I've heard of their order being cancelled or them not receiving their order. And mine did take a painfully long amount of time to arrive, a good 2 weeks. Everybody received theirs before mine. Everybody who bought their palettes through my link received theirs before mine. So I think maybe I was being punished for letting everybody know about the huge discount. I don't know, but it's here now. And this, as much as it is a colour story along the lines of some of the palettes we've seen before from Pat McGrath, this is definitely right up my street. It's definitely the type of colours and tones that I love to see and that I really enjoy for myself. So although I fully understand and empathise with everybody who was very disappointed, either you just don't like these tones and they're not for you and you just want something that you do love, or you do love these tones but you don't want 5 different palettes essentially of the same vibe. So I fully understand the disappointment and frustration, but for me this is a colour story that I was super drawn to, and at like half price, you know, that's a smaller price tag than I would pay in any Pat McGrath sale ever. So yeah, I was very happy. Oh, I forgot to mention when I was talking about the discount code, that discount was actually on the pre-tax price. So Pat McGrath puts her prices on the website before launch, not including tax. So it was on the site listed as £99 and not 120 because they hadn't added the tax for launch yet. So that's why, although the discount code was for 30%, I got a lot more than 30% off because I also was paying on the pre-taxed price. Crazy. So that explains that if you were getting a little confused on the numbers. So yeah, although the colour story is kind of samey to what we've seen before, I wouldn't say that I was like devastated and crushed, because I will take all of these types of colour stories that I can get because they're just my favourites. Okay, so I have put together 4 different looks. I've made sure that I have used every shade in here at least once so that I can give you the full tea and all of my thoughts on how these shadows work, what I like, what I don't like. So I will jump into the tutorials and then I will let you know all of my thoughts at the end. Let's go. Okay, so this palette, I feel like it's very much what I expected. There are no special shades in here. The two shades on the end that are usually the Blitz Astral phenomenal shades. There aren't any. There is a Blitz shade and an Astral shade, but no Blitz Astral shades. That makes sense. So I really liked all of the looks that I came up with. I think this purple shade, what is she called? Astral Amethyst Allure. This one surprised me. I didn't really think I'd like it just looking at it in the pan, but actually I really liked it on the eye. I think it's super pretty, very, very beautiful. And this shade up here, Crimson Ecstasy, Blitz Crimson Ecstasy, to give her her proper name, I didn't like, just as I thought I wouldn't. I don't like the colour of this shadow. I just immediately, as soon as I saw the photos, I thought, I wish that wasn't in there, because it's just not my kind of shade. That very sort of red, coppery shade is just not my jam, and that is the problematic shadow in the palette for me. It's very flaky, and it doesn't have, well, it's not that it doesn't have base, because I feel like you can see the base there. It's got a lot of colour, but I just find when applying it, it's hard to get the base to adhere on the eye. I don't know if you noticed that in the tutorial where I used that shadow, but it felt like it was very sheer and I was just getting glitter and sparkle and a lot of fallout, but without a lot of like intensity. I think that's a shadow that if you really want to get, you know, how it looks in the pan, and you want to get that full impact, you're going to need to use a wet brush, a bit of setting spray, maybe a tackier primer. I like to use a set concealer as my eyeshadow primer. So I think if you're going to use that shadow to its full capacity and potential, you would want at least a wet brush, if not, you know, a sticky primer for it to grip to. So yeah, that shadow I don't like. I found it tricky to work with. It gave me a lot of fallout. It was very crumbly, and I just don't think it was worth the hassle, because I didn't really love how it looked on the eye either. It just looked a little sheer and like meh. You know, this other sort of blitzy shade on the end, this sort of peachy gold tone, I think is stunning. This also is quite a glittery, sparkly, you know, crumblier, looser shadow. So again, you will get some fallout with it, but this gave me this beautiful colour, so I didn't mind the fallout. Fallout isn't a deal breaker for me. I know it is for some people. For me, I don't mind it. I typically always do my eyes first. Any fallout will just wipe away, and I feel like that shadow just was worth the little bit of fallout that I got from it, because it's so pretty and impactful and just beautiful, and I loved it. This shade as well is just glorious, that beautiful pink reflect. It's got some pink and some peach and lovely shifts in there. The mattes are beautiful. There are so many wearable shades in here. I think this is a palette for someone who maybe doesn't have a huge amount of Pat McGrath. Maybe you've been scared off by like the special shades. They're a little too much, a little too sparkly for you. This is a little more toned down than your average Pat McGrath Mothership. I feel like it's a very wearable, crowd-pleasing palette. Obviously, if you're a Mothership collector and you have them all, I think that's where people are really disappointed, because they wanted something totally different to what they have. If you are new to the brand, you're a little scared of the shadows, especially the really impactful ones, I feel like this would be a very good place to start. So I think this palette it has an audience, but it's not necessarily the huge Pat McGrath fan base audience, just because obviously we've seen a lot of these kind of colour stories. But if you're new to the brand, if you're a little nervous of the brand, if this is your kind of colour story, it's slightly more muted, slightly more wearable day to day for a lot of people than a lot of her Motherships. I really like it. I think it's beautiful. I think I got some gorgeous wearable looks out of it, and I will definitely be using it some more. I think all of the shadows performed beautifully, except for the problem child that we've already spoken about. Performance wise, no problems whatsoever. Creamy, pigmented, easy to blend, beautiful mattes. I think Pat's mattes, I love saying that. I think Pat's matte shadows have got better and better over the years. For me, her shimmers will always stand out, and her mattes, some of the earlier Motherships were a little trickier to work with and to blend. These mattes now are so beautiful and easy to blend and easy to build. I love them. And the lighter shimmers are so beautiful, and maybe a little more subtle by Pat's standards, but by anyone else's standards, absolutely stunning. So pretty. And I really love all of the shades in here, except for this one. Okay, that one's the standout not in a good way. Okay, so there you have it. Those are all my thoughts and looks on this new Mothership from Pat McGrath. Please let me know what your thoughts are on this. Were you disappointed? Was this your first Mothership? Are you loving it, hating it? Let us know in the comments section down below. But I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.